Welcome to the UNA Baseball Review. Here are your hosts, Coach Mike Keene and Jeff Hodges.
Welcome to the UNA Baseball Review. I'm Jeff Hodges, along with UNA head baseball coach Mike Keene. And Coach Keene, the UNA Lions, 26-14 overall, a good overall record, 14-12 in the Gulf South Conference. And the most important thing going into today's doubleheader, still an opportunity to try and make the Gulf South Conference tournament. So really a good opportunity for you guys going out today.
Yeah, it was, we put ourselves in a position we weren't anticipating being in. We had to try to take care of business this past weekend. So, there's always a chance, and you got to get a little help this weekend from some other teams. But like I told them, all we can do is take care of what we need to do, and if we do that, and then at the end of the day, hopefully it'll be good enough. And it's not, at least you put yourself in the best position you could at the end of the year.
One of our best series of the season this past weekend at Mississippi College. Opportunity to score first in each of those games, and that really seemed to give you some confidence. And then your pitching staff was just phenomenal. 3 complete games in a 3-game series.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, Brantley started off and did what Brantley's been pretty much doing all year. He goes deep in the game and throws a lot of 9-inning games. But, we jumped out there, had some, really did our short game was really locked on, something we've been kind of inconsistent with. But, we were able to put pressure on them, and then, they did score. Then we expanded lead and really was able to put the lead and put that first game away. And then, Riley Sanderson and then Kyle Conkle the next 2 games. Riley pitched a 9-inning game. He went 9-inning games, but we scored a lot of runs and really kind of put the game out of handle early. And then the third game was kind of the same way. Their pitcher was actually seemed like he was throwing pretty good, and then we just kind of exploded in 2 innings. And then Kyle Conkle, just what a great job he pitched. Faced 21 batters a minimum, gave up 2 hits, but then came right back with a double play. So great defense that game, and all around just a really good weekend.
UNA won that opener 7-4 against Mississippi College. Dylan Calhoun got you off to a great start in that game. He was 3 for 4, and it really seems like the games where he's gotten going, the team's gotten going.
Yeah, and it really, I mean, he's such a good player for us. When he gets on base, he can make some things happen, and he's got some pop in his bat. So not only he'll lay down some bunts, he can play the short game, but he also can drive the ball in the gap, as you can see by his RBIs and doubles. But yeah, once he gets going, it just seems to kind of get everybody else flowing and get our confidence rolling along. And plus, you try to get guys on base for Dylan, or the other Dylan Boston, as he usually drives in the runs, and he did the same thing that game.
Yeah, in that game, Dylan Boston 2 home runs, 4 RBIs, so a couple of just power shots there. Brantley Clonch, as we mentioned, a complete game. He did give up 10 hits, but he scattered those, no walks and 5 strikeouts.
Right, and that's something that our pitching staff does a great job. They haven't walked a lot of guys, and part of that is in there. Our defense has been so good that it really, you don't need to put guys on base, allow the defense to make plays. And like Dylan, the first ball that he hit, he actually got a little out front. We didn't think he was going to get out, and the ball carried. But the second one, he really jumped on a fastball and drove it in. That really was a difference in the ball game. They pitched to him, and he didn't miss his pitch, and really got us going.
UNA won the second game 13-2, 19 hits in that game. Again, you got on them early, but the bottom of your lineup really produced in this one. Brandon Pugh 3 for 4 with 4 runs scored. You also had Heath Wood out there 3 for 5 with 3 runs scored. So those guys really helped from the bottom of the order.
All right, and those they were both been in and out of the lineup all year. We've been kind of waiting for them to get some consistency. You kind of then it's been back and forth, and Brandon was able to utilize his speed. He laid down a couple bunts that weren't even plays, and when he gets around the base path, I mean, we were looking at one time he went first to third and on a ball hit to left field, which is almost unheard of. But both those guys did a great job, and that's when you have people at the bottom of your lineup doing what they're doing in that game, you're going to get a lot more runs because it turns the lineup over again. Then you get back to Dylan Calhoun, Guzay, Smith and Boston and Hubbock again. So that's what those guys were able to do.
And come back, Riley Sanderson in that game, another 9-inning complete game. Riley with just 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. So you think that's probably got to be as good as it can get for the weekend. Here comes Kyle Conkle, a 13-0 2-hit complete game shutout, and as you mentioned earlier, faced a minimum. So that really closed out the great weekend for the pitching staff.
I thought Riley, he pitched really well, and I thought that he really fought through a zone. I thought the umpire zone in his game was really tight. Wasn't giving him a lot of calls, so he had to kind of try to get him out in the zone. And I thought that's something he really matured and didn't give in and didn't start kind of getting wavering from that. But then Kyle's stuff was, like we've seen Kyle before. He's had some days where his stuff was really on. His breaking ball was tight, location on his fastball, and that's what I said. He didn't walk anybody, and I don't know if he really even threatened to walk anybody. I mean, he was really locating the ball, and it was just, and even when he did, the ground balls were like just easy ground ball double play. So what a great effort on his half.
UNA won that final game 13-0, 18 hits. The big star of that game, Kevin Hall, 5 for 5. He really exploded that game.
Right, and again, that was kind of the nice thing about this weekend. We had different guys that kind of stepped up and helped, and we knew Kevin Hall's had the potential to do that. He's had bouts where we think he's going to really break out, and then maybe he doesn't, but this was the first time where he really stayed through the middle, kept his head nice and steady, stayed on the ball and used the whole field, and just had a really good weekend, and it seemed every time he turned around, we had an opportunity, he was getting another hit.
Boston and Guzet each with 3 hits in that final game, and I guess the big note of the series, in 25 innings pitched, UNA gave up 1 walk.
Right, and that's, I know that's something Coach Hancock preaches all the time. He's talking about attack the zone, force contact, and he's really proud of that stat. And it was just really a weekend that we needed to do a lot of stuff. We needed to get our offense clicking. They needed to do their part, and our pitchers did need to do their part. So all the players did everything they needed to do, and then hopefully we can repeat it again this weekend.
We'll take a quick break and we'll look at UNA's senior class of 2015 when we come back.
TNT Fireworks is proud to support the University of North Alabama and the Lion baseball team. Like the UNA baseball program, TNT Fireworks is committed to excellence. Our product, service, and teamwork are the reasons we are America's #1 selling fireworks brand. Check us out at tntfireworks.com. And remember, if it's not TNT, it's not fireworks. TNT Fireworks encourages the entire Shoals area to support head coach Mike Keene and his UNA Lions by attending a game at Mike D. Lane Field. Roar Lions!
What's going on up there?
Welcome home, Jeff. This is all for you.
Oh. Are you serious?
Welcome Lieutenant Chuck Nag home.
Tell the world I'm coming home. Let the rain wash.
Welcome back to the UNA Baseball Review. A great video there of UNA's senior class of 2015. Great, 7 great players there, but there's another guy also, Zach Torberg, who's been your manager for the last 4 years, and he's really somebody that you see him out on the field bringing balls, the umpires doing some field maintenance, those kind of things, but he does so many other things behind the scenes in addition to that that's really helped the program.
Yeah, he really has. I mean, when Zach came in as a freshman, like a lot of guys that come in our program as a freshman, wanting to be a manager, played, sports in high school, not sure how they want to do it, how much work is going to be involved, and boy, when he got in there, and he's so competitive, he takes the wins and losses just like anybody else, but he's also another coach. I mean, a lot of people don't understand. Zach hits fungos with me on the infield. He helps work with the infielders. He's throwing with the bunts. He's in the batting tunnels down there, throwing flip to the guys, and so he does so many more things. Only with doing some of the laundry and all the little things, but shoot, he gets the umpires ready to go. He gets the baseballs, and then you'll see him out there dragging the field. So he's going to be a guy who's just such a great asset to our program. You're really going to miss him not being around, and hopefully we can find someone who can replace him about half as good as him.
We'll just talk briefly about each of the seniors, starting with our 2-year guys, but Jake Smith in the outfield from West Point, Mississippi. 303 average this year, 25 runs scored, and he's really been a guy that stepped up at key times and helped you.
Right, and he had this past weekend, he hit the ball really hard. He didn't have a few that got hits from it, but he's a guy that had a nice turnaround. Last year he was getting kind of used to the GSC and kind of struggled on some pitches away, and this year he's really been able to use the whole field. And again, here's a guy that started out hitting 9 the beginning of the season, just kept getting consistent, worked his way up, and he's been hitting, a lot of the games he's been in our 3-hole. So just a really good job and a really nice turnaround for him.
Shortstop Brett Guzet from Muscle Shoals, a 343 average, had an injury early in the year where you don't know if he was going to be able to return or not, came right back. He's overcome that, and he's really developed in one of the better defensive shortstops in the league as well.
Yeah, he really is. He's a great defensive shortstop, and I think what he's really worked hard on and really bought into what we're trying to do offensively, and has made himself a really good hitter. But yeah, really tough kid. I mean, for his injury, and then he talked the doctor into allowing him to play, and just is having a really good year. I think he's a guy that obviously going to have an opportunity to be a Gold Glove shortstop, but just one of the better shortstops in our league.
And Kyle Conkle from Fort Payne, a first baseman and pitcher, all Gulf South Conference as a designated hitter last year. Kind of struggled a little at the plate this year, but he has come through with some key hits, but really shined on the mound this year, a couple of 2-hit shutouts.
Yeah, I think that, Kyle was there. I think a lot of that is, sometimes you come back, you want to do, so much better, and I think he was really pressing and really kind of struggled offensively. It was up and down. Just when we think we'd get it, then he'd struggle again. But recently he's kind of been a lot more into it. We put him back in the lineup, and he's had some big hits. But on the mound, I think that's his biggest turnaround. He's been able to attack the zone, a lot more stone strikes. I think he's really worked well with Coach Hancock, and he's had some just tremendous outings and some really big wins for us.
And Kyle Stevenson, a senior pitcher from Boonville. He's undefeated this year, 3-0, real solid in the midweek pitching.
Right, he's been that these past 2 years. He's been our midweek starter, and I thought this year he had a really good year. Didn't lose any games for us. We only lost one midweek game, and when we went out of the game, we had the lead, so it wasn't his fault. But really, it's really shut down some really good teams. He beat Montevallo early in the year when Spring Hill had that explosive offense, and he was able to maintain them. So, again, really nice career. Plus, I said all these guys are such good academic students as well.
Dylan Boston, also a senior. Some people think he has another year, but they didn't know he went to junior college the year before, unfortunately, before he got here. But Dylan, 143 consecutive starts at UNA. That's a phenomenal record, but also 13 home runs, 130 RBIs in those 143 career games, so great stats.
Yeah, and Dylan, well, obviously I saw him play a lot because he's from Tuscumbia. He's been over at Sheffield, was over at Deschler's, whichever program, from a long time. So obviously we recruited him out of high school, then he chose to go the junior college route. I'm glad to get him back in. But I think the thing about it, I always knew Dylan had the potential to hit, learn how to adjust. But I think one of the biggest things for him that I thought he worked so hard at, I'm probably more proud of anything, is what he's done defensively to turn himself into a good defensive third baseman. That was something, a lot of mark on him, that way he couldn't play a position. Well, he's proved him wrong.
Now, our last 2 guys, a couple of 4-year pitchers for you, but starting with Brantley Claunch from Florence, and pitched his first 2 years as a reliever, had 8 wins and 4 saves. He moved into the starting role. He's had 10 wins over the last 2 years, been your #1 starter, and he's somebody you've really been able to count on.
Yeah, Brantley was, had a good career over at Florence High School. Basically walked on, and then after that first year, he earned a scholarship, and he's been such an important part of our program and in the pitching staff, how he approaches everything, how he works. And, I think having him around, and obviously with the next one with Jacob too, those two just make the pitching staff, because they understand everything. They've had a lot of highs and lows throughout the program, but those two have been so consistent, especially Brantley.
And our last one, Jacob Westerhouse, a school record 79 relief appearances in his 4 years at UNA. 5-0 this year with a 1.43 ERA and 3 saves. And you know when you get to a point in the game, and sometimes it's been 4 or 5 innings that he's gone for you, but you know when you get him in the game, you felt good about holding on.
Yeah, and he's another one. You know, like he came in as both Brantley and Jacob came in as true freshmen and played right away and just continued to get better and better. And I don't know if anybody's been any better him than this year because he's had to do so many more roles than anybody else. He can close 1 inning, he can throw 5, and that's just Jacob. He'll come in and say, "Coach, you need me? How many you need me? I'll do it." And I know that, and he just competes so well, and he's just had a great year and a great career for us.
We'll take a quick break, and we'll have more Lion baseball for you when we come back.
He is the most interesting man in the Shoals. He is an artist, a writer, a philosopher, a historian, musician, astronomer, wine connoisseur, environmentalist, Peace Prize recipient. When he speaks, people hang on each and every word, especially the verbs. His personality is so magnetic that he cannot carry credit cards. It is said that once he taught a German shepherd how to bark in Spanish and taught a horse to read his email. Someone recently asked him what he did for fun, and here is what he said.
I don't eat out every day, but when I do, I eat at City Hardware because to me, it's the most interesting restaurant in the Shoals.
Welcome back to the UNA Baseball Review. Coach Keene, I've been at UNA for the past 32 years. You've been here for the last 27. I don't think we've ever seen a baseball season so affected by the weather as we have in 2015. And I know it started that way. Usually you hope things get better as the season goes along, but even coming down to this final weekend series, you've had to make adjustments for the weather, and that has driven you crazy.
It's been, you know, you expect a little bit in February because it is still technically spring season, but it's winter. And we had a lot of cold weather. You know, you had some snow and ice coming in. You're kind of fighting through that. So you figure, well, it's going to warm up. And then this time it warmed up and became rainy. So it's, you literally just look every morning you get up there, you're checking my app on my phone for the weather and seeing what has changed, what it's doing. And it's been such an odd prediction year too, because they've been unable to, it changes not only about every 2 hours, but you know, it changes consistently, and you're trying to make a decision, and it's been tough trying to make a decision what you want to do with the games.
And it's got to be tough on the players too, not knowing from day to day what time they're playing, when they're leaving, those kind of things. So it's been a lot to overcome. But I want to talk about a few things we've done particularly well this season. One is defensively, 26 and 14 overall, as we mentioned, and part of that due to the Lions fielding 975, which would be a school record at this point. But not only played well defensively in the infield, but just really aggressive defense in the outfield, and they've played particularly well.
Yeah, it's been a lot of times you kind of equate that with the infield playing really well, but I think this year, we started off a little bit defensive slow, and then those guys just kicked it in, and I think a lot of that does with the speed. Jake Smith is just a really good outfielder out in right field playing in the sun. Dylan Calhoun's played all 3 positions. He's a guy, the versatility he has in the outfield. He's played right, he's played center, he's played left, and wherever he's played, he's ran balls some down. Some of in the Montevallo playing center field. Then of course you had Brandon Pugh's been out there, which we all know his speed and what he's able to run down. But everybody's done a good job. We actually threw a freshman in there at first base that didn't start on there, and then he's come in and done a well job. And I think we all work hard at it, and the same with our catchers. So it's been all around, and also with our pitchers. I think our pitchers, for the most part, they've been a lot more consistent. You got some pretty good athletics on the mound, and they're able to field their position. So and we've needed it this year too.
And one guy that's helped you, particularly on defense, is Kyle Crabtree, and unfortunately he suffered an injury at Mississippi College and going to miss this final weekend.
Right. Kyle was the one, again, you didn't know how he was going to come in, new to the fall after being out on the football field, and then and just has really used his speed, and just was really just him and Guzay up the middle, were as good as anybody in the conference. And it was unfortunate for him. It's a play at the plate, and it was, I waved him in. He was going to be out, and he was just trying to make a move to kind of juke him a little bit, and had a little weakness in his knee when he planted. The knee went out on, but hopefully everything will be good. Surgery and get him back next year.
The pitching staff as a whole has done well, particularly last weekend, as we mentioned, but a 4.15 ERA right now going to the final weekend of the regular season. 93 walks, that's the fewest since we have records going back to the mid-'80s, so a tremendous job there.
And I think that's it is, and it's one of those things, that's such a, going into the season, If you would say that we're going to have the fewest walks, which when we're going, we're going to be feeling this percentage that we'd be sitting in the position we are, you would have said, you're crazy. We're going to be sitting really well. But those two are two areas that we really preach. Obviously, I work with the defense. I'm really picky about us making plays to help the pitchers out. The pitchers are helping the defense out by forcing contact, and both areas have done really well, and especially in our pitching staff.
The Lions, the one streak that really hurt you, a 2-9 stretch there a couple of weeks back, and in 6 of those games we scored 1 run or no runs. And one stat that kind of jumps out, I guess, is we're 16-2 when we scored first, and a lot of it seems to be whether it's emotional or whatever. We get an early lead, we really take off, and the games where we've fallen behind, we've really struggled.
Yeah, and then it's one of those things that of course, you don't sleep a lot trying to figure out, what have you done different, what we needed to do, and I even talked to a few of the guys, and I think a lot of it is I think there was so many of them that wanted to do so well this year, put in line, and after that UAH series, I think they just started putting so much pressure on them, and then at the plate they were pressing so much instead of just doing what we needed to do, and unfortunately, we had basically a 3-week span where we didn't offensively just didn't do a whole lot. Now, West Georgia, we put up some runs and were able to survive, and one of them came behind, but 2 of those weekends at home, I know a lot of people don't see us on the road, but we've been more offensive on the road for some reason, so I don't know what it is. So hopefully we needed to change this weekend and get back to being scoring runs at home.
We'll take one final break and have more Lion baseball for you when we come back.
Hi, I'm Mike Keene, head baseball coach at the University of North Alabama. Have you ever heard the saying, great baseball players are made in the off-season? As a college baseball coach, I can tell which high school recruits are on a weight program and which ones are not. Help your young athlete reach the top of the sport by training with the personal trainers at the Courthouse Racket Club. Our 5 trainers are ready to work at your athlete's pace and your schedule. Try our 3andMe training program designed for 3 athletes to work with a trainer and lower the cost to fit any budget. Call Ken Irby at 764-0034 to set up a program designed especially for your young athlete. The Courthouse Racket Club, proudly serving the Shoals for 30 years.
TNT Fireworks is proud to support the University of North Alabama and the Lion baseball team. Like the UNA baseball program, TNT Fireworks is committed to excellence. Our products, service, and teamwork are the reasons we are America's #1 selling fireworks brand. Check us out at TNTfireworks.com. And remember, if it's not TNT, it's not fireworks. TNT Fireworks encourages the entire Shoals area to support head coach Mike Keene and his UNA Lions by attending a game at Mike D. Lane Field. Roar Lions!
A great combination, Frostbite and Montague's. Florence's first self-serve yogurt shop has over 50 rotating flavors and over 100 rotating toppings. Customizable frozen yogurt. When the cup is full, the toppings are close by. Just weigh and pay. All sandwiches at Montague's are under $5. The best Philly cheesesteak and Reuben in town. Delicious sides, and they cater. Get a UNA student discount, and they accept the main card. Like Frostbite on Facebook. Frostbite and Montague, 1611 North Pine Street, Florence. Open now. Frostbite on the UNA campus.
TVA Community Credit Union is proudly open to the entire community, offering unequaled service and convenience.
They are the TVA Community Credit Union, and they make you feel like you're part of the community, part of the family. Customer service is great. I mean, they're great with my wife and I and my daughter.
We bought all of our houses, all of our cars, everything through them. With a little one running around, I don't have a lot of time. So it's real simple just to pull my mobile up and go straight to the site and check my account.
I recommend them all the time, to be honest with you. For one, I mean, their rates are great. Try to work with you to get you the lowest rates, to get you where you need to be, set you up for the future. Don't feel like I'm a number at all. I feel like I'm a part of the family.
From mobile banking to the latest platform in online banking, we make managing your financing fast and easy. Our members are the owners of our credit union, so there are no high-priced stockholders to pay, allowing us to give our members totally free accounts and amazing loan rates. TVA Community Credit Union, everybody's credit union.
Welcome back to the UNA Baseball Review. Coach Keene, this is our final show of the 2015 season, and we want to take a minute and be sure and thank our sponsors, particularly the TVA Community Credit Union, for sponsoring our player profile segments this year. It's really been a nice way to kind of get to know the players a little bit better, and I know the UNA fans have really enjoyed them.
Yeah, it was something we always appreciate all the support from the local businesses, especially Kim Burkett over there at TVA. community credit, and we were able to get the interviews and kind of meet our players a little bit more this year, and I thought it went extremely well. We also like to thank TNT, which is obviously one of our main sponsors. It obviously does a lot throughout the Florence and the Shoals area. Shoals Distributing, been with us a long time, supportive of our program. I know they do a great job around here. Montagues and Frostbite, again, a lot supportive of UNA Athletics, and we appreciate them helping out our program and again the TV show, especially Riccatoni, City Hardware. Obviously, you know, two of the best places I like to eat in my family. That's where we want a lot of guys. We go eat. It's a great place around the area. And Courthouse Racquet Club, you know, they also go out there, and all the support they've had throughout the year. And all these have been helping us for quite a few years too.
Anytime you're around a college baseball program, or really baseball program on any level, you know it takes a lot of people to make everything happen, and I know you have some great help. We mentioned Zach Torberg and the great job he's done, but let's talk about your coaching staff a little bit. Matt Hancock, a great job with the UNA pitching staff this season.
Right, you know, Matt's been with us obviously as a player. He's been in the system for quite a few years, and obviously handles all the pitching responsibilities and does also the recruiting also, but just a great job this year with the pitching. Like I said, with what the experienced pitching staff we had back to control it and putting all the pieces together, and especially do some of the things they accomplished this year, you know, it's a great credit to him.
And Nick McGregor, one of your graduate assistants, and you might have seen a lot of his handiwork with the mowing on the field. That's pretty impressive from time to time. But Nick, also a former player, and just done a great job.
Yeah, you know, we had this year, you know, Nick came in, was again a player, came in as a grad assistant for us, and you know, really done a good job for us. You know, he works with the outfielders and the hitters, and then obviously you've seen how good he is with mowing the field.
And Blaine Rosenberg, another GA in his second year with you.
Yeah,
well.
And Blaine was, you know, was at a D1 school. Montevallo came in, and again, has worked with our catchers and the hitters, and another guy that's really done a good job of being out on the road, helping out with the program, and hopefully we'll continue to work with him.
And Jordan Nelson, a volunteer coach for you the last 2 years. He's kind of hidden down in the bullpen, doesn't make a lot of noise, but he's also helped you out.
Yeah, Jordan's now, he works with, helps Coach Hancock with the pitching. You obviously him with that old hat waving down there. That's Jordan Nelson letting us know that he is ready to go.
And then Bradley Williams, your trainer, and trainer's always so important in the baseball program.
Yeah, Bradley was the first year he had to replace the Mighty Possum from the last several years, so Bradley's coming in and has done a good job for us and trying to keep our guys healthy.
And Lions playing short today, a doubleheader out at Mike Lane Field beginning at 1 o'clock. Hope to see you out there as the Lions try to close out the season on a positive note. As we mentioned, UNA 26-14, still a shot at the Gulf South Conference tournament. Hope to see you out at Mike Lane Field.
Thank you for watching the UNA Baseball Review.